President Trump holding an open house for Greenland. Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance sitting down with officials from Denmark and the mineral-rich country. The Danes were ripping pre-meeting cigs before playing hardball. They're refusing to give up Greenland and citing a fundamental disagreement. However, they will form a high-level working group to address their differences. But Trump is warning if Russia or China shows up looking to squat, they're going to need a bigger dog sled.
We need Greenland for national security. If we don't go in, Russia's going to go in and China's going to go in.
On NATO, right now, it sounds like you are saying that you would potentially acquire Greenland by force. That would be a NATO country. The United. Are you saying that? Would you do that?
No, you're saying that.
Would you acquire
I didn't
it by
say
force
it. No,
right
you're
now?
telling me that that's what I'm going to do. You don't know what I'm going to do. I can't rely on Denmark being able to fend themselves off. You know, they were talking about they put an extra dog, and they were serious about this. They put an extra dog sled there last month. They added a second dog sled. That's not going to do the trick.
President Trump also weighing military action against Iran as the Islamic regime slaughters its citizens. But earlier, Trump said he got word that the killing has stopped.
We've been told that the killing in Iran is stopping, and it's stopped, and it's stopping. And there's no plan for executions or an execution or executions. So I've been told that on good authority. We'll find out about it. I'm sure if it happens, we'll all be very upset.
All right, Dana Perino, you are very good with your predictions.
Oh.
What is your prediction about Greenland? Do we acquire it in one way or the other?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
I do. A couple of things. I was talking this morning with Hemmer about Seward's Folly. Do you know Seward's Folly?
Alaska.
Right? So Seward buys Alaska for $7 million. He's laughed at. He's like, what a waste. That's so stupid. It's like, in today's money, that would be like buying all of Alaska for $150 million. And it turned out to be one strategically good and great for fishing and things like that in the winter. I know you care. I mean, the summer. I know you care about things like that. I do believe that you could make a case that everything we want to do in Greenland to protect our hemisphere, that they would allow us to do. I think you could make a case, and I'm sure that's what the Danes and the Greenlanders told our team today. But one of the issues that President Trump is concerned about, he's thinking like a CEO. He's thinking not about next year and the dog sled, he's thinking 10, 15, 20, 25 years down the road. Europe has gotten very close to China, and they've already admitted they basically can't fend off Russia. So I think it would be in their interest and our interest. It seems to me like there's a deal to be made here. I don't think it needs to be taken by force or that it will be taken by force. I don't believe that. But I think there's a deal to be made here, and I think it would be a good one for Greenland, too.
Yeah, and Europe's not making love, Greg. It's a dying continent, and one of these days it's going to go poof. How are they going to defend it?
But why buy when you can just trade? I mean, do we really need at this point Minneapolis?
We're talking.
Just why don't we just a one-for-one trade? They get more people. The Danes, Denmark, really, we're listening to them. They're like the RA on a dorm floor. You know, they're coming out. You can't do that. It's past 10 o'clock. We don't care. Look, with Greenland, you're in the negotiating phase with Trump, and if you still react the same way,
Look at this guy.
who is that?
It's the guy from Denmark,
See what I mean?
Since Pete Buttigieg had his bike going this
I think it was the security guy.
Okay, the whole crew doesn't look great, Dana. Look at him.
I know, he's got a pipe, though. I mean, if you're having a pipe, that's pretty good look.
Yes.
That's a pretty good look.
This is how you decide, Jessica, by their walk. Okay, so in every negotiating phase, Trump takes the most extreme position at the start. And if you don't understand that by now, I'm going to use the R word. You're wrong. So he starts at the extreme because why wouldn't you? When you enter a contract negotiation, the worst thing you could do is offer a number that your bosses like, because then they have no respect for you, and then they reduce it by 2/3, and then you're screwed. This is why in my contract, I always begin by asking for the severed head of Brian Kilmeade.
You work back from there.
Can I say something about Iran, though? Because things are happening in Iran. I just want to know, where are the accusations of genocide by those loud voices that falsely accused Israel of genocide when they were hunting and killing Hamas? What happened? Here you've got actual victims, and No voices from all those sign-carrying people who were so empathetic, all those fart brains who shouted genocide. And now, why aren't they shouting genocide anymore about Israel? Why? Because there was no evidence. There was no ruling by any international body. There was no finding. So they just we knew it was all a lie.
And Kellyanne, it does look like, according to Trump, things are de-escalating, hopefully.
Yeah, that sounds like today's news. But at the same time, they're not to be trusted. And I saw a preview of our Brett Baer's interview tonight with the foreign minister of Iran, who said, well, President Trump can't make the same mistake they made in June. We didn't think that was a mistake. We think that could be an every 6-month event if it needs to be. Challenging their nuclear capability. The president was rightly applauded for doing that. I'd like to get back to Greenland. I talked today to Governor Jeff Landry of Louisiana, who the president named as special envoy for Greenland. And we went through the whole list. You know, the Louisiana purchase was not out of generosity. It was to stop France from controlling Mississippi. Alaska was to stop Russia from being on its doorstep. We supported Panama breaking away from Colombia because it had an important canal, and the list goes on and on. NATO is stronger and tougher because of President Trump. And Mark Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO, has said that. He said, but for President Trump, last year, 2025, the NATO countries would not be paying 5% toward the common defense. They're doing that. Look, the Arctic shelf is melting, and it's becoming a corridor. Their surveillance gaps will be closed. I think that transportation infrastructure gets easier. This is not just some crusade to go and bother a sovereign nation. This is of national security and strategic importance. We've done it before. Britain did it with Gibraltar. This is not new. The president is not going to go in there with force. He just said that. In fact, he shot down the reporter that was saying it. And I want to just say something to our liberal friends, since they like to be called liberal again, next segment. You're never upset that China and Russia are in Greenland. You're upset that the U.S. would want to acquire Greenland fairly and squarely, face to face. Look what just happened in Venezuela. China made a big play in Latin America, and Maduro was their crown jewel. And what China did was it went into Latin America and basically said, if you stop supporting Taiwan, we'll build ports, and we'll help you with your infrastructure, and we'll buy your soybeans and your other goods. And now they've got Maduro, the crown jewel, out of there. It's going to be very difficult for China to continue with the same kind of inroads in Latin America. They were swirling around trying to get the oil out of Venezuela. Trump gets in there and does it instead. China and Russia are already there. That's the choice on the table. The U.S. or China or Russia. And I'd like all Americans, regardless of party, to think of it that way.
Jessica, NATO called Trump daddy. Why won't they give daddy what he wants?
Because sometimes daddy needs to be told no. That's just the
By
facts
who?
on the table.
I pay.
By who?
I pay by the hour for that.
By anyone who has the guts to do it. And it seems like the Danish foreign minister, the Danish prime minister, the head of Greenland, that they've got the stuff. And they're saying NATO will disband if this happens. It will be an attack on a NATO country. Whose
side are you on?
I'm on the side of America.
Thank
and
you.
Also Greenland.
Gotta go.
No, we can't. No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
The lack of respect for a sovereign nation that, as Dana said, would be very willing to come to the table and have a conversation with us about basically everything that they want to do.
He just came to the table.
No. But he was, based on what he said afterwards, he just heard, we're taking it. It's going to be ours. And I get it that you like the way that Trump does diplomacy, maybe more than I do. You like the way that he talks. You understand his weaves or his bobs or whatever. But you have a pan-European fleet coming to back up Greenland. You have the Germans and the French.
A European fleet. That's the funniest thing you said all day.
No one would be happier
They have one aircraft
if
carrier?
NATO was disbanded than Vladimir Putin. And Kellyanne, you say, I don't know what liberals think about Russia and China influence. Donald Trump was the one who rolled out the red carpet, quite literally, for Putin, got nothing from it, then tried again, got nothing from it, and it's been those embarrassing
Biden
liberals.
Was in the White House.
Okay,
and
Donald Trump
Obama and Biden were in the White House.
Not only did he not interfere in the election,
that mess.
but he wants what's best for Ukraine, which made everybody, including Zelensky, have to laugh out loud. Do not put this on liberals that we don't know who the real threat is. We have wanted sanctions on Putin that Trump had been unwilling to do. And you had folks
who's
like...
Who's a bigger threat to liberals, Putin or ICE?
Don't make her answer.
Lol.
That was cute. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.